doing on Monday. Question number 1 says factor completely. You should have written ABCs right above it. Your A value is, there's nothing there, so it is 1. B value is negative 10, and your C value is 16. On top of my X goes what letters? A times C. On the bottom, which letter? B. So A times C is 16. My B value is negative 10. I need to think of two numbers whose product means to multiply, equals 16. But the same two numbers, their sum, or when you add them together, equals negative 10. Class, what are those two numbers? Okay, so let's say you don't know those numbers. Take this one and write out all the factors. 16 times 1, A times 2, 4 times 4. Did you notice how I wrote the larger numbers on the left, smaller numbers on the right? So when you subtract, you're trying to get this number, and then you can change the combination of positive and negatives. Someone said 8 and 2. That multiplies to be 16, but class, does that add to be negative 10? So what does that mean? They both have to be negative. So now I take the negative 8 and the negative 2, and you're always going to put them in those two boxes. Negative 8x and negative 2x. Always in the first box here on the top left, you're going to put in the x squared, and then the last term you're going to put in 16. And now I'm just going to take out the greatest common factor for each of these. Class, what is the greatest common factor here? Just an x. How about the greatest common factor here? And you can check x times x equals x squared. What's the greatest common factor here? Negative 2. If you didn't know that, you can always multiply. X times negative 2 gives you negative 2x. Greatest common factor here? Negative 8. Negative 8 times x gives you negative 8x. And negative 8 times negative 2 gives you a positive 16. Your answer is x minus 8 and x minus 2. Remember, the order does not matter because it's multiplication, so you can change those two. If the person you're grading has the correct answer, I want you to put a check. If they got it wrong, give them an X. Now, question number 2. Is there a greatest common factor between 2, 9, and negative 5? No, there's not. So I'm just going to find my A, B's, and C's. Class, my A value is 2. So if it helps you, you can write the A, B, C's above it. Ax squared plus bx plus c. It tells you that they're just numbers. The student who struggles may have written here 9x. That would have been wrong. And c is negative 5. Class, what two letters go here? What letter goes here? Class, what is A times C? And your B value? I'm going to write out all the factors for 10. So 10 and 1, 5 and 2. Which ones am I going to place there, class? These multiply to be negative 10. So which one's going to be negative? Negative 1. These multiply to be negative 10, but these add to be 9. Now, is the answer x plus 10, x minus 1? No, we need to place this into our box. So, the variable here is an x, so I'm going to put 10x. My variable is x, so this is negative 1x. Basically, what's happening here is we're splitting the middle term. Class, should I put an x squared or 2x squared? And then what goes here? Negative 5. Let's find the greatest common factor. Class, what's the greatest common factor going in this direction? What's the greatest common factor going in this direction? 2x. So x times 2x is 2x squared. What's the greatest common factor this direction? Negative 1. So negative 1 times x is negative 1x. And then what's the greatest common factor over here? So 2x times 5 is 10x, and 5 times negative 1 is negative 5. My answer is x plus 5 and 2x minus 1. If the person you're grading has both of these, go ahead and give them a check. If they got it wrong, put an X. Now, what's the difference between these two? My A value is 1, and my A value is greater than 1. In this problem, class, did you have to use the box? No, because the answer is actually negative 8 and negative 2. This problem, you have to use the box because A is greater than 1. If you're not sure when to use the box, I would just encourage you to use it all the time. Okay? These two examples here, none of these have a greatest common factor. Right? They're not going to be hanging out during spring break. Does question number 3 have a greatest common factor? What is it? 7 and a m. What's left? M squared minus 9. Okay. Now, why did you guys think I left a space here? Yeah, that's the placeholder 0m. Because it goes m to the second, m to the first, m to the 0. So I'm going to highlight this here in orange. And here in orange, this is where I'm going to use my X in my box. And I'm not going to forget this 7m, because the 7m is going to be part of our answer. Okay, so based on the orange box here, what is my A value? A value is 1. My B value? B is 0. And my C value? C is negative 9. A times C? Negative 9. B value? Two numbers that multiply to be negative 9 but add to be 0. Okay, to make sure that this works, you're always going to pick the same number but they're opposites. Does that make sense? Positive 3 and a negative 3 equals 0, but these will multiply to be negative 9. Let's put this into our box. This is called the area model of factoring. That's a fancy word for Xbox. Class, what do I put here? 3m, right? We changed the variable. Over here? Here? M squared. You notice how I have that orange box highlighted. And the last term? Negative 9. Greatest common factor? M. Greatest common factor? Greatest common factor? And greatest common factor. Remember, you can always multiply to check. M squared, negative 3m, 3m, negative 9. Oh, you've done that before. M plus 3 times m minus 3, we put it into a box and you would multiply and get these terms, correct? And then you would combine like terms. So basically we're doing the opposite. M plus 3, m minus 3. So, if your person has all of this in the red box, you can give them, I can't see that, they have to have that 7m there. If they have all of that, go ahead and give them a check. Then the next step is to count how many checks they have, and then you're going to check off one of the Jedi levels. So if they got 3 of them, They are now a Jedi Master.